Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is Theta Warrior. Wanted to make this video and discuss our trade in Tesla today. Today was Lotto Friday, February 28th. And before we get into the details of why we got in and when we got in, let's first take a look at this daily chart here. So you can see Tesla's had a pretty big spill from the highs. Nice symmetrical triangle that ended up breaking lower. You got a bounce back, nearly a retest of this prior low, and then just an absolute dump down into this I don't know if it's an earnings gap or a news related gap, but this kind of gap area here down in these high two or mid 270s. So we actually caught a good portion of this move here and a bunch of these red days as well, just day trading in and out of this thing. First time I've been in calls in a while in Tesla, feels like. But my point in looking at this chart is, this is how I do all my analysis. I start on the daily time frame and then I zero it in. But you can see, like I said, we had a big spill from the highs, and we're finally getting down to an area where, we saw sellers active before. And a lot of the time when that happens, when price revisits them, you'll get a reaction there. It may be the bottom, it may be a short-lived bounce, who knows? But as a day trader, that's not a huge concern to me. Basically, just looking for a move intraday. So we had this big push lower, and you can see, they gapped it down and pushed it right down into this level, right into our high from October 28th. So at that point, looking for longs. I'm basically looking for a bounce out of this area. So you can see zoomed in on our 5-minute chart here. We gap down, like I said, immediately push lower. And, within the first, 10 minutes, these are 5-minute candles. So within 10 minutes, buyers had stepped in, already retraced this move. Sellers had an opportunity on this next candle, pushed it lower, but buyers overcame and pushed it right back up. At that point, we filled our gap, our overnight gap, and we kept going. So, price is showing us a lot of strength, right? So sellers had an opportunity to keep this selling lower. They did push it down, but they were unable to hold it lower. And buyers, basically took the baton and started running with it and sent this thing up higher. So, as soon as we got up into this area, I'm obviously watching and I'm realizing that this thing may be getting ready to push higher today. And so I sent out this alert, that I'm watching the 285 call. The goal is to get everybody on the same page, give them a minute to pull it up in their brokerage account. Obviously, options move really fast, especially on Lotto Friday. So I like to send these out before I actually get into the trade so everyone's ready. 5 minutes later, ended up getting into the trade. 296 is what I paid for these contracts, the 285 call expiring today. And, we got a little bit more of a push down, right into that kind of, 50% retracement roughly of this move up. And then boom, it was off to the races. So ended up working really nicely. You can see this is a screenshot from my brokerage account, up over 130% there within 20 minutes. Trade worked really well. Really pleased with that. It's the only trade I took today. As I always say, you really only need one or two good trades a day. There's no point in sitting around and over trading. You're just going to churn your account and mental fatigue. And there's just a lot to be said about, you get up and you get out. You get green and you just call it a day. So ended up being a great day. And, I think, I've explained the technical analysis side of things, right? But I also want to touch on the options flow, which is another really big thing that I watch. And if you're unfamiliar with what this is showing basically the net options delta change within the options market, right? So basically, as calls are bought, it increases delta. As puts are bought, it decreases delta. I have videos on all of this, so I won't go into too much depth. But basically, if these lines are moving up together, that's a bullish sentiment. If the lines are moving lower, then that's a bearish sentiment. So you've got right out of the gate, this orange line moving up shows us that puts are getting closed. And this blue line moves up, shows us that calls are being bought. So on this pullback, you had, yes, some retracement of this call delta line. But the put delta line really didn't make much of a change, right? So there's really no puts being bought. There's no net put buyers. They're basically neutral to sellers. So that's a bullish thing. And even when though this call delta line did pull back, it didn't move below, where it did initially. So there, we know that there's still call buyers active. All the call buyers that were in here, or I should say, some of them are still in the trade. And then you can see, as we, really got some strength and price started pushing back higher, the calls really started flooding in. And the total net options delta, this white line, just continued to rise, as everything is trending in the right direction. So, we got, just the technical move we were looking for. We had the right upside pressure, being provided by the options market. And again, if you're unfamiliar with this stuff, call buying and put selling will put upside pressure on price. It's going to help it move higher. So that's why we watch this, and it's really good to pay attention to it because this definitely helped, our trade, helped us make money. So we had the options market on our side. The technical analysis was on our side. Stop is pretty simple. It takes out the low, or maybe 75% retracement, maybe the low of this candle. A couple different ways to look at it. We knew our risk, and ended up catching a nice trade. Like I said, about 136% gain roughly. These traded higher. This is just where I got out. But yeah, all in all, a good day. Any questions, please comment. Please let me know. Been making these videos to try and explain, my thought process and why I get into the trades that I get in, and, kind of give you guys better insight into what we do in the elite. So hopefully that was helpful. Hope you guys have an awesome weekend, and I will see you on the next one.